Guten Abend.
And hello.
This is Downbelow RPG. I'm Ian.
I'm Steve.
And today we have yet another campaign style because we're bringing you 6 campaign styles that you can run the RPG in other than our default assumption.
Yep.
Well, they all sort of fit our default assumption, but
or rather, none of them contradict the world as is, but all of them are something specific to deal with. Yes.
Exactly.
So the name for today's style is Fugitive, not to be confused with the Harrison Ford movie of the same name, except in principle, because they're both about similar things. The idea behind Fugitive is that you are running from something.
Mm-hmm.
It could also be meant, running can also be towards something, but it wouldn't be called fugitive at that point, because it comes from the Latin root of to run away.
Sometimes you're doing both. Harrison Ford was doing both.
Right.
But the core is that there's something that's going to get you.
Yep. So what does this mean for a campaign? Well, it could mean a lot of things. The obvious thing is something like a fugitive from justice, a criminal.
Mm-hmm.
In a criminal's version of the fugitive campaign, this is fairly easy to confuse with the enforcer campaign, except that it's not about the status quo. It's about the fact that if you get caught, if you get cornered, if you're unable to escape, you're done for one way or the other. This could be by rival crime syndicates. This could be by the police. This could be by the justice system. The point there is that many criminal games lend themselves very well to being fugitive games about fleeing from something.
Maybe you transition into this after an enforcer arc comes to a certain point, and you decide, you're going to get in trouble with this group that can make you have to flee.
Fugitive could also be a transition point from just about anything. If your gumshoe gets in over their head, and suddenly that campaign shifts into a fugitive campaign. You are an agent who is burned. Well, suddenly you're on the run from people who want to bring you in. You are a group of rebels, and what happens? Oh no, you're found out. Your cell is compromised. And suddenly you are now functionally no better than a criminal because you're on the run from the same people. The one thing that Fugitive can also be very well used for is while in-game you are running from something, out-of-game, Fugitive can be used as an introduction to different campaign styles. It could be as an introduction from agent to gumshoe, from gumshoe to enforcer, from enforcer to rebel. You don't have to go straight into the and now we're rebelling against the status quo we once upheld. You could also have a period of on-the-run fugitive campaign sessions in between.
And boy, is there no better way to turn somebody against you than by harassing and harrying them all the time for a good long story arc to really grind that bitterness in.
Now, on Nueva Paradiso itself, Fugitive kind of feels in some ways like a misnomer. The island is big, but it's not that big. There are places for people to get lost, but you can't lead someone on an epic cross-country chase from New York to San Diego because that is hundreds of times bigger than the entire island of Nueva Paradiso. So you're not looking at long cross-country chases. The fugitive in this case, the chase, is more likely to be a time constraint. It's more likely to be how long can you elude them for, or until someone with a higher profile comes along to distract people, because the space is not such that you can just up and disappear. Even those who do disappear into the pipeworks and into the cracks, given enough time, a dedicated searcher will still find them.
You could also use this for a limited run where the question becomes, can you get out or will you get found out? And if you get out, you get off Nuevo Paradiso, maybe into space, maybe to some other safe location.
The important things when setting up this campaign are actually very much GM-facing, because types of characters, any type of character can end up a fugitive. So really, the buy-in here is very important for the GM to establish, because you need to establish some following things. First, you have to establish who are you running from, or what are you running from. The second is why are you running from that, and the third is what happens if you fail. There's potentially a fourth, which is where do you go, but that is both so broad and so long-term, and it's not very helpful to most people to have that decided from the outset. Some people might find the alternate true, But in general, the important things are the double whats, or the why, the who, and the what. Why are they chasing you? Who or what is chasing you? And what happens if you don't successfully get away? A second follow-up question could be such things as, what lengths will your pursuers go to get to you? Is this one of those situations where they'll go through innocence? Is this one of the situations where the fact that they're within eyesight of a schoolyard will stop them? What lengths will they go to?
And many of these questions don't necessarily have to be known by the PCs at the outset, because answering those questions is often going to be the core question for them in the course of play.
Yeah, as we mentioned before, mystery is not just the province of the gumshoe. It does appear, and rightly so, in every game style.
So, tomorrow we'll talk to you more about running this game using our system.
And until then, thanks for falling through the cracks with us.
See you tomorrow.